On the morning of my wedding, I did something I'll never forget. I handed my sister my dress, my wedding dress. She was crying, mascara streaked down her cheeks, her voice trembling. "Ria, my luggage is gone. Everything's lost. I don't even have a dress to wear." I remember staring at her, my little sister Serena, standing in the middle of the bridal suite like a broken doll. Blonde curls half-pinned, hands shaking, panic all over her face. And in that moment, I wasn't a bride. I was a sister. So I said, "Take mine. I'll wear the backup." And just like that, I gave away the dress I'd dreamed of since I was 12. The lace I'd flown to Italy for. The one I tried on while sobbing with joy in the mirror, thinking, this is it. This is what I'll wear to marry Julian. My hands didn't shake when I handed it over. Not then. But I wish they had. I wish something in me had trembled, warned me. Instead, I felt this strange calm, like I was doing the right thing. I smiled at her. "It's just a dress," I said. "Don't worry about it." But her eyes? They shifted for just a second. The tears stopped. She blinked, nodded too quickly. "Thank you," she whispered. But it didn't sound like relief. It sounded like satisfaction. I should have noticed. The way her lips twitched at the corners, the way she didn't even ask if I was sure. She just took it. And in the background, my mother, Vivian, stood silently, hands clasped like she was watching a royal ceremony. No surprise, no concern. Just that tight, smug smile she always wore when Serena got her way. Julian hadn't texted that morning, but I told myself it was nerves. He was probably getting ready, maybe writing his vows. We'd been together 6 years, and even though we fought like fire and ice, I loved him. God, I loved him. And he said he loved me. So I slipped into a backup dress. It was off-white, simple, the kind of thing you'd wear to a rehearsal dinner, not your actual wedding. But I didn't care. This wasn't about the dress. It was about love, commitment, trust. I told myself that as I walked out of the bridal suite, as I ignored the stairs, as I took the long hallway toward the ceremony room. My heels clicked on the marble floor, echoing with every step. My heart thudded in my ears. The closer I got to the doors, the quieter everything seemed. Not like anticipation, like silence before something awful. Then the doors opened, and my world shattered. There, under the floral arch, standing on my side of the altar, was Serena, in my dress, holding hands with Julian. People were smiling, some were even crying. My father, Marcus, was clapping. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Julian looked straight at me, his jaw clenched, his eyes darted, guilt flickering across his face before he turned away, as if I was just another guest, a forgotten guest. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I whispered, "What is this?" No one answered, and then the officiant spoke. "We are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Serena and Julian." I swear, time stopped. The lights dimmed, the air froze. Inside, something broke, cracked. Quietly, but permanently. And right there, as applause erupted around me, I realized I'd given her the dress, but she'd always planned to take everything else. I didn't leave right away. I stood there, frozen in the back of that hall, surrounded by soft candlelight, rose petals, and 100 eyes that refused to meet mine. It was like I'd been dropped into someone else's dream. No, my dream. Twisted into a nightmare that didn't belong to me anymore. I kept waiting for someone, anyone, to step in, to yell, "Wait, this is wrong." But no one did. Not my mother, who now had tears in her eyes like she was watching a royal wedding. Not my father, who was laughing with Serena's best friend, as if this was always the plan. And not Julian, who once kissed my forehead every night like it was sacred. Who knew how I took my coffee, how I hated thunderstorms, how I planned our honeymoon down to the playlist we'd blast in the car. He couldn't even look at me. I didn't cry. Not then. I turned around, heels clicking again, this time softer, like even the floor was trying not to disturb their perfect moment. When I got outside, the sun hit my face like it was mocking me. Birds chirped. People strolled by the venue, unaware that the woman walking past them in a cheap ivory dress was supposed to be getting married inside. I sat on a stone bench by the garden. My phone buzzed in my hand, but I didn't look at it. Probably some cousin posting a blurry Instagram story of the happy couple. Or maybe someone texting, "Sorry you had to see it that way," like there was ever a right way to see your sister marry your fiancé. My chest tightened. I couldn't stop picturing her in that dress. The one I picked with my grandmother, the one I said yes to. The delicate lace sleeves, the way it hugged at the waist, the custom embroidery that spelled a +J in tiny pearls along the hem. I felt like I was watching the highlight reel of someone else's life, the one I'd built, the one she was now living. Why? That question screamed inside me, echoing like a siren. Why would they do this? How long had this been going on? Were they laughing at me behind my back? My hands trembled as I pulled my phone out and opened my texts. I typed to Serena, "What the hell is this?" then deleted it. What was the point? She was probably sipping champagne with my ex-fiancé / her new prize, grinning like a Cheshire cat who finally caught the mouse. A soft breeze blew past, ruffling the veil I never got to wear. I realized I hadn't even pinned it in. It just sat there, like it didn't belong to me anymore either. I looked up at the sky and thought, God, if this is a joke, it's not funny, it's cruel. Then I thought about everything, the months leading up to the wedding, how Serena was always around, how Julian said he and my sister were finally getting along. I thought it was sweet. I encouraged it. I loved that they were bonding. Stupid. All the little moments came rushing back like a tsunami. Inside jokes I didn't understand. The weird tension at the rehearsal dinner. The way Vivian smiled when Serena stood beside Julian during photos. Was it always going to be this way? Was I just a placeholder? That's when I felt it. The first tear. Hot, silent, racing down my cheek before I could stop it. Not from heartbreak. Not yet. From shame. Humiliation. The kind you feel when the whole world watches your trust collapse in real time. I wasn't just the girl who got left at the altar. I was the girl who gave her sister permission to take her place. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't really know. Time didn't feel real. I kept staring at the garden fountain, watching the water bubble up and spill over like nothing had changed, like it hadn't just witnessed something disgusting. I finally got up. My legs felt heavy, like each step was asking, "Are you sure you want to see more?" But I had to. I needed to understand. I needed it to be a joke, or a misunderstanding, or anything but what it looked like. I walked back inside, this time through the side hallway that leads to the reception area. The music had started. Laughter floated down the corridor. Applause. The sound of champagne flutes clinking. I peeked around the corner and saw it all. Serena in my dress, now a little wrinkled from hugs and dancing. Julian beside her, grinning. Not a flicker of shame, not a single glance in my direction. A woman from Julian's side of the family, I think his aunt, called out, "They make such a stunning couple. You can just tell when something is meant to be." I froze. Meant to be? Meant to be? I started noticing details, tiny ones that made my skin crawl. The seating chart had been changed. My name was gone. The printed menus no longer had my initials on them. It said S+J in scripted gold. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a spontaneous switch. This was planned. They had rewritten everything. My name, my place, my future. Scrubbed me out like I was a typo. And no one, not a single soul, looked shocked. They were smiling, celebrating, taking photos. They were applauding. The same people who sent me excited RSVPs, who hugged me at bridal showers, who posted selfies with captions like, "Can't wait to celebrate Aurelia and Julian," were now raising glasses to my sister and the man I loved. I stood there, hidden by the doorway, heart pounding so loud it felt like it echoed through the marble halls. My mouth was dry. I felt my hands start to tingle, like they were falling asleep. Except it wasn't sleep, it was rage and heartbreak and horror, all tangled into one unbearable knot. Then I locked eyes with my mother. She was standing at the edge of the room, perfectly composed in a lavender gown, pearls around her neck. She looked at me, straight at me. No surprise, no guilt, just that same cold smile she wore when I was 7 and Serena got the bigger birthday cake because she was younger. She raised her glass to me. Cheers, I guess. My vision blurred. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to stop myself from screaming. Julian's arm slid around Serena's waist. He leaned down and kissed her on the cheek while everyone laughed at something the best man said, probably about fate or soulmates or some other word that now made me nauseous. I couldn't breathe. Every part of me wanted to crash through the doors and scream, demand answers, rip off that dress and throw it in their faces. But I didn't. I turned and walked away. Because I finally understood something that chilled me to my core. They didn't just steal my wedding, they erased me, and they didn't flinch while doing it. I was the sacrifice for their so-called destiny, and the people who should have stood by me, they applauded like it was a standing ovation. But here's the thing about being erased. You can either vanish, or you can come back louder. I didn't cry on the way home. Not one tear. I sat in the back of the Uber like a statue, fingers clasped so tight in my lap that my knuckles turned white. The driver kept glancing in the rearview mirror, probably wondering why a girl in a wrinkled dress with glitter in her hair and no shoes looked like she'd just walked away from a funeral. Maybe I had. I stared out the window, watching the city blur past, my reflection bouncing back at me in the glass. My lipstick was smeared. My hair was still half-pinned, like it had given up halfway through trying. And yet, for some reason, I didn't feel broken. I felt hollow. And in that hollowness, something started to grow, a flicker, cold and quiet. I didn't know what it was at first, until I walked into my apartment and sat on the edge of my bed, still made, still waiting for a bride who never made it to the altar, and I whispered, "She told me not to tell him." That flicker turned into fire. Serena. Months ago. One blurry night. I remember it now with terrifying clarity. She'd shown up at my place late, drunk, crying, her mascara running just like it was this morning. It was a Wednesday. I'd been filming a TikTok about the bridesmaid gift boxes I was making. My phone was propped on the bookshelf recording. She barged in, collapsed on my couch, and choked out, "I did something stupid." Her words had slurred together, but they were unforgettable. "Don't tell Julian, Asal, please. It was just once. I was drunk. It was Damien. It didn't mean anything." Julian's brother. I hadn't said anything at the time. I was too stunned. I thought it was a one-time mistake, something she'd regret, something I'd take to the grave to protect her from blowing up the wedding. And she'd begged. She looked at me with those trembling lips and said, "Please, Rhea, don't ruin this for me." For her. It had never been about me. I rushed to my phone and opened the videos in my camera roll, scrolled until I found it. The footage was still there, blurry, dim, unfiltered, but her voice was clear. Her face red and blotchy, desperate. I watched it twice. Then I began digging deeper. The texts, the calls, the receipts. There was a message from Damien, time-stamped a week before the wedding. "We can't keep doing this. He'll find out. You should tell him, or I will." She never told him. Instead, she married him, and they called it destiny. I sat on the floor with my laptop, opened a blank project, and dragged in the footage. I added the screenshots, the texts, the call logs. I didn't add music. I didn't need to. The silence was louder than anything else. Then I recorded a message, just one sentence. "Since I wasn't allowed to give a speech today, here's mine." I exported the file, named it "For Everyone Who Applauded," and I didn't post it right away. That would have been emotional. Messy. I wanted them to feel exactly what I had. The confusion, the stillness, the quiet breath before the collapse. So I scheduled it. To go live 1 week from today. Same time, same hour, same date, let them have their cake, their honeymoon, their stolen fairy tale. Because exactly 7 days after they stood in front of the altar like I never existed, the truth was going to walk back in, wearing my name. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing that week. Not my best friend, not my coworkers, not even my therapist. I lived in complete silence. No posts, no texts, no updates. It was like I vanished, just like they had erased me. And that was the point. They needed to feel safe, celebrated, loved. Let them pose for their honeymoon selfies. Let them share photo dumps captioned "Forever and Always" with golden hour lighting and fake giggles. Let them soak in the illusion, because they had no idea a countdown had already started. 7 days passed, slowly, quietly. Then it was Sunday again. Same time, 3:15 p.m., Exactly 1 week since my world collapsed in the middle of rose petals and applause. That morning, I woke up early. No makeup, no filter. Just me and my laptop. I took a deep breath and hit publish. The video was called "Since I Wasn't Allowed to Speak at My Own Wedding." It started with Serena, sitting on my couch, drunk, messy, crying. "I slept with Damien," she says, voice shaky. "It didn't mean anything, I swear. Please don't tell Julian." Then came the texts, screenshots layered one by one like a court case. A message from Damien, "You should come clean." He deserves to know. I can't keep lying for you. A voicemail from Serena. "If this gets out, I swear to God, Rhea." Then a black screen, followed by my voice, calm even. "Everyone said it was destiny. So here's what your destiny looks like behind closed doors." The video was 2 minutes and 49 seconds long. That was all it took. I didn't even need to send it directly. Someone else did that for me. A cousin, maybe. A former bridesmaid. I'll never know exactly who clicked share, but it spread like fire in dry grass. My phone lit up like it hadn't in days. 30 messages, then 60, then more. "Aunt Lena, tell me this is fake." One of Julian's groomsmen. Holy shti. A text from my mother. "Aurelia, we need to talk." "Oh, now you want to talk, Vivian." Julian called me 5 times in a row. I didn't answer. I watched his name flash and disappear like a dying light bulb. The man who couldn't even look me in the eye a week ago was now blowing up my phone like I was the only one who could save him. But I wasn't in the business of saving liars anymore. Then came the silence. Not the kind that hurts, the kind that tastes like justice. Because what they never expected was for me to speak. I wasn't supposed to say anything. I was supposed to bow out gracefully. Let Serena have the stage. Let my parents paint it as fate. Let them all pretend I was never part of the picture. But I was the one who built the frame. And now every guest who clapped during their vows. They were watching a different show entirely. People left group chats. Serena's Instagram went private. Mutual friends messaged me with thin apologies, suddenly unsure which side to stand on. And Damien? He sent me a single message. I didn't know she'd actually go through with it. "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because they weren't waiting for my forgiveness. They were bracing for the consequences. For once, the silence didn't belong to me. It belonged to them. It's been 3 months since the wedding that wasn't mine. People still ask what I'm doing now, where I am, how I'm feeling, if I'm okay. And the truth is, I don't really know what okay means anymore. But I do know this. I'm not where they left me. I moved cities. I changed my number. I started therapy. I wake up in the mornings and open my blinds all the way, letting the sun hit my face like a dare. I don't flinch anymore. It's strange, the silence now. Before, it used to crush me. But lately, it feels like peace. I donated the dress. Not the one Serena wore. Mine. The real one. The lace was still intact, the pearl embroidery untouched, but I couldn't keep it. It wasn't a symbol of joy anymore. It was a tombstone. Let someone else have their moment in it. Someone who won't have to give it away to family dressed as betrayal. As for Serena and Julian, they've gone dark, social media wiped. No more meant-to-be quotes, no more soft-lit selfies. I don't know if they're still together, and I don't care. Vivian sent me a letter. Handwritten, as if that made it more sincere. "Aurelia, I wish things had gone differently. But I believe everything happens for a reason. Serena has always been impulsive. You've always been strong. I hope one day you'll understand." I stopped reading. No apology. Just a justification, as if I was collateral in some divine plan. But I'm not collateral. I'm not a stepping stone. I'm not a placeholder or a plot twist in someone else's love story. I was the whole story. They just didn't know how to read me. The hardest part wasn't losing Julian. It wasn't even Serena. It was realizing how many people were willing to sit in the audience and clap while I was quietly pushed off the stage. It makes you question everything. Your memories, your worth, your reality. But here's what I learned. People can take a lot from you. Your time, your trust, even your name at the altar. But the one thing they can't take? The truth. And I didn't have to scream it. I didn't have to burn their house down. I just told the story, laid it bare, and let them unravel it themselves. I'm not interested in revenge anymore. That's too easy, too loud. I'm interested in healing, in building a life that no one can hijack or perform or twist, the kind of life that doesn't need approval or applause. Because truth doesn't need permission to exist, it just waits. And when it arrives, it's quiet, but undeniable. So no, I'm not okay. But I'm honest, I'm rebuilding, and I'm free. And if there's one thing I hope you take from all of this, it's this. Don't let anyone write you out of your own story. Speak, even if your voice shakes, even if it takes time, even if no one claps when you're done. Because the right people, the real ones, they won't need to be told who the bride was. They'll already know. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Did you stay quiet or speak your truth? Tell me in the comments. I'm listening.